Welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you a question. Why are all these financial systems around the world having these problems? Why does China, I'm just use them as an example. They're not the only ones, because you heard about a month ago, you heard what's going on in Japan, right? Okay, let's put Japan to the side. We already know they're crazy about XRP and XRPL. Let's put them to the side. Why does a powerful country like China have their businesses and their financial institutions thinking about stimulus? Why do they need stimulus? You see the mainstream media throwing out all these distractions. They're talking about everything but the global debt crisis. And believe me, that is most certainly a crisis. We've been following it for years, off and on. We used to do it heavily. Has it gotten any better? Folks, this is one of the things they don't want people to know. There's a massive problem with fiat currencies. There's a massive problem with debt, and those banks can collapse. They propped them up in the past. This is all relevant. You want that, not financial advice. You want that price to skyrocket or not? Because I do. I don't know about you. I only speak for myself, not financial advice. This is one of the ways it happens. Those banks go down. The prices of the native cryptos that provide tokenization, liquidity, bridge currencies, it unlocks those illiquid value. Why do they need the illiquid value unlocked so badly that they're all racing towards it? Why? You tell me. There's a reason. Right. You need that liquidity. When things are rapidly becoming illiquid, it offsets that balance. Things rapidly becoming illiquid. But with DLT, it's so fast at liquidating everything, or not liquidating, but making it liquid. My apologies, I misspoke. Making everything liquid, it brings everything back into a more proper balance to keep the systems going, to keep the systems thriving. That they don't tell the people that. They don't want them to know. You think not? Let me read this to you. Listen to this. So, recent reports from institutions like the IMF, Serious Business, UNCTAD, UNCTAD, Serious Business, and the IIF is serious, folks. Listen to what they're telling the people. The people, it's not only the people don't know this, the mainstream media has people focused on all of these other things. They're throwing issues at you so that the people don't see the collapse coming. It's building. And they don't see that the companies are getting into position with the bank coins. Oh, yeah. Did you see the distractions that also within the legacy financial system and what they're allegedly building, even though I expose all of that with their own words, their own reports to show that it's not what it appears to be? They don't want people too bullish on the bank coins. They don't want them having the bank coins because they themselves, the institutions, the companies, the elites know when this collapse happens, they want to keep the lion's share of the value because those things will skyrocket. That's why they're all, attempting to do these XRP treasuries, Solana treasuries, Chainlink treasuries. Why do they have treasuries now? I thought years ago, so many people said that the companies and the people weren't going to be holding bank coins. That's what they said, right? They're not going to be holding it. What do you think a treasury is? I mean, it doesn't matter how fast they trade it, or I don't think it's going to be that quickly. You see what? It's all a game. They're playing the game, and it's up to us to not be played. Let me read this to you. You make up your own mind how you feel about these things. So, these recent reports from the IMF, UNCTAD, and the IIF paint a serious picture of persistently high and rapidly growing global indebtedness driven by sovereign and corporate borrowing. There's a problem. This is coming from the OECD. You can go read it yourself. So let's look at this. And then we're going to get to what the results could be. You're going to love it. If you like this type of content, take those two powerful hands, hit that like button a couple times. Total global debt is astronomical. Total global debt, government, corporate, and household, has recently surged past the $307 trillion mark. This is coming from the IIF, okay? And continues to climb, with some estimates placing it over $338 trillion. Public debt is the main driver, while private debt has seen some stabilization. Global public debt, government borrowing You know where this goes. You know where this leads, right? Is the primary concern. That's why. One of the main reasons why they're all protecting their value with gold, but they don't tell the people to protect themselves with gold. Although there's a few individuals like myself been into gold for years, got in when it was super low, super cheap. But why are all the central banks getting into gold, folks? Tell me. It's a protective asset. What are they protecting themselves from, huh? Right. Why are all the large asset managers and elite people getting heavily into gold? Think not. Google search. What are they protecting themselves from? Can you tell me? Huh? Right. There's something coming. And not only are they protecting themselves, but simultaneously by acquiring the bank coins, they're going to flourish from what comes. You have to understand, they have this mentality. It's not just the mentality. They act upon it of order out of chaos, right? They find a way to benefit. They find a way to grow out of chaos. And you want me to be completely raw with you, honest? I don't put it past them to bring the system down artificially. It's to their benefit that the system collapses. Once again, that's why they're buying gold. So when the system collapses, it doesn't affect them. They're buying gold and bank coins. Bank coins ensure that their wealth increases. Gold ensures that the wealth that they have is protected. So when a collapse happens, it doesn't affect them. Why wouldn't they consider that option to bring it down on purpose? I mean, I'm just asking questions. I'm not asking you to believe like I believe. I'm not saying this is the be all end all. I'm considering things. But let's keep going here. Public debt, main driver. Okay, let's scroll down. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to jump right to the consequences. I mean, there's a lot of information we could go over here. And all the signs are there, folks. So, at its worst, a global debt crisis could result in a spiral of negative consequences that are synergistic, making each problem worse and leading to outcomes far more severe than a typical recession. Here are the worst case results that a severe and protracted global debt crisis could culminate in. Number one, sovereign debt defaults and financial system collapses. They don't have to. There was something that people used to say. It's like right on the tip of my brain, where they swap out the system. They could just let the system collapse on its own. They can artificially take the system down. I mean, but one way or the other, they're looking at a problem. Let's boil it down to the quintessence. There's a problem. And there's no escaping it. The old system must go, whether it happens naturally or artificially. Sovereign debt default, the immediate most dire scenario, is a major government or multiple major governments defaulting on their debt obligations. This is often triggered by investors. Look at that. So some people think it's just in the hands of the governments. And this is often triggered by investors losing confidence and demanding unsustainably high interest rates, leading to a liquidity drought in the government's bond market. This is coming from the IMF. Wait, let's keep going. Then there's this. Something we've been following for a long time that they avoided just so narrowly, which is why I'm talking about the collapse of banks. Thousands of them. Thousands just in the US alone. And this is one of the reasons why the ECB, Christine Lagarde, look it up, used to always talk about contagion. Remember that? What's contagion? What's that mean? Bank sovereign nexus collapse. Banks, insurance companies, and pension funds hold massive amounts of their own government debt. The quote, risk-free, unquote, asset. Is that so? We exposed that years ago. Remember we used to talk about that? They're not risk-free. Let's keep going. We saw flashes of that, did we not? Right. A sovereign debt default would instantly wipe out the value of these assets. But it happens in degrees. What happens as they're going down in value? There's negatives with that as well. It doesn't have to be so meteoric, although this paints that picture. It doesn't have, I mean, I get it. When you're an article writer, you don't have that much time. You must convey the message as quickly and as clearly as possible, right? So they don't have forever to explain every single detail semantically. But it says here, a sovereign debt default would instantly wipe out the value of these assets, leading to widespread bank insolvency, bank collapses, systemic financial crisis, and a complete freeze of the global credit system. Now, this is at its most extreme, but it doesn't have to be at its most extreme. As long as those banks collapse or they have a massive problem, they're going to need the new financial system to solve these problems. It's just as simple as that. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Isn't that what they said? And we can grab liquidity from anywhere, including, this is what, once again, tokenization. BlackRock, we want tokenization. RWA. Listen, all of these companies, they want to make liquid the illiquid because they're going to need it. It's not just about making value. They're going to do that as well. They literally need it. The world is about to change. Who knows when? I don't know when. I just know that this problem is here. No telling when it's going to go off. Who can know such a thing? This is coming from the House Budget Committee. Serious business. All of this results in an XRP price. If this all goes off, if something happens in this way, and once again, I ask you, why are they protecting themselves with gold? Why are they all getting so deep into the bank coins in every possible way? You think it's for no reason? Is it only for profit? Because gold is mostly protective, although it's been skyrocketing just because everybody has to jump in. All the central banks have to jump in, been buying at record rates. Record rates. Why? Right. Buying bank coins up to the point where was it BlackRock? Which company was it? Recently, it was like last week. No, BlackRock was trying to get Wall Street. From the horse's mouth, they're trying to get more of Wall Street into crypto, right? And I believe maybe it wasn't them, it was another company that is, they set up a system where they're trying to get more companies to do crypto treasuries. Why? Give me the catalyst. Tell me the catalyst, right? You know my thoughts. Tell me the catalyst that you believe they're waiting on that's going to explode that price. They're not here for pennies. That price must explode. Now, let's go here a little bit more. Loss of confidence. If a nation like the United States were to face an existential debt crisis, its creditors, foreign governments, institutions would lose faith in its ability to repay. Also coming from the House Budget Committee. The dollar's demise. Has there not been a problem with fiat currencies? I know now they've buried it. They don't talk about the continued shirking of the dollar, which has continued, albeit quietly. The going away from Western systems. We just talked about that with the SWIFT system, which is just an illusion. That's all this is, an illusion. It's a connector piece. The banks choose their preferred DLT. You read it right from the source themselves. They're not going to, no institution worth its value is going to give up its control over assets that it holds. It must hold that on the preferred ledger, which is going to be a private ledger. Then that private ledger will connect to whatever SWIFT has going on. That value moves through the preferred DLT first. Once again, you read it right from the source. And I have to, I reiterate that because I took the day off yesterday, but I kept researching, I kept studying, and I see a lot of misinformation, and I just shake my head and I say to myself, they're trying to throw the people off. They know some people are going to see a certain headline, they're going to read that particular article, maybe a little bit of it, and they're going to run with what they saw. And there's a lot of misinformation, right? So I would just be careful of that. But hey, do your own research, not financial advice. Dollar's demise. This is a loss of confidence. This loss of confidence could accelerate the shift away from the U.S. dollar status as the world's primary reserve currency. The U.S. has a bunch of problems right now. They've had it for years. The dollar is facing problems, hence why they're looking at stable coins, which it's funny. I had a very, very good few articles that were exposing stable coins recently. Maybe we'll delve into that a little bit. New information has come to light. They're an illusion, as I told you. But hey, let's continue forward here. But that's why they're going hardcore with dollar-based stablecoins, which is ridiculous. They should just go with the gold-backed stablecoins. But, appearances mean a lot to humanity. It just does. And they're going to hold firm to that. So they want the dollar to be out front. I would say survival would be paramount over the appearance that the dollar is leading. But let's keep going. The U.S. dollar status as world's primary reserve currency. This could be a seismic event leading to a massive spike in domestic inflation, a steep decline in the national standard of living, and an immense difficulty in financing future deficits. So you have all of these things that we're watching right now occur, building that they're protecting themselves from. All of it leads right back to the same conclusion. What solves these problems? The new financial system, more transparency, quicker results, traceability, liquidity. Some people out there don't understand why I say that 3 times. That's how Ripple always used to say it. They used to say it 3 times. Why? Why did they emphasize that so much? They knew. Just like we knew 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. We've been discussing this for 4 years now. But we've been seeing progression in the denouement of the system. I like that word. You like that word? Denouement? It's like downfall, right? But we've been following the progression of that, and it's been accelerating. And as you watch the denouement accelerate, the downfall of the system, you've also been watching the rise of the new financial system accelerate simultaneously. There's a reason for that. This is just the start. Tomorrow, we're going to come back. We're really going to dig in. Notice how I start. This is how usually the series of videos start, like the whole secret series. That's a series. This now, we're going to delve deep into this and really expose what's going on here because they've been burying it. So let's scroll down here and let's see how much time we have left. My apologies, folks. I'm trying to make sure that I have enough time to get into that Bitcoin news. Geopolitical fragmentation. A global debt crisis forces countries to look inward. International cooperation on critical issues dissolves, leading to increased protectionism, trade wars, and greater risk of international conflict. Now, when I'm discussing these things, this is not, I don't do things for fear or fear-based anything because I don't operate out of fear. I don't control how other people feel. Okay, I'm able to look at the lion and I'm not afraid. I'm going to win or the lion's going to win. As simple as that. And I accept whatever the outcome is going to be. So I don't operate out of fear. But we must take a look at things both positive and some things that may not be perceived as so positive because they're highly relevant to the price of those native tokens exploding. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to take that bank money. These banks have a problem that crypto skyrockets. The native tokens are where the liquidity is, not stable coins. Stable coins are not stable. Matter of fact, they increase the risk of bank runs. Hence why so many of the central banks are going berserk right now saying, hey, wait a minute. Let's rethink these stable coins now. Just use what did the Bank of England say recently? Just use tokenization. What did the ECB say? Well, you can use stable coins, but stable coins aren't stable. We know what the BIS said. They've been saying that for years. Why? All right. So now let's leave that there. We're going to come back and delve a little bit deeper and really expose some things in tomorrow's video. Let's go here with a little bit of Bitcoin news before the video gets too long, because Bitcoin is poised to explode. Hands down, in my humble opinion. Make up your own mind. I only speak for myself. Now, this article is titled, look who's saying this. It tells you everything you need to know. They used to be so against Bitcoin. JP Morgan. Remember that? Now they're all, Bitcoin may go a little bit higher. We know that. We're way ahead of you. No disrespect, but we're way ahead of them. Bitcoin could reach $165,000 based on gold's record run. This coming from JP Morgan, as I iterated before. Banking giant JP Morgan says Bitcoin could climb to around 165K on a volatility adjusted basis relative to gold, highlighting what the bank sees as significant upside if the so-called, quote, debasement trade, unquote, continues to gain momentum. The Wall Street lenders' models suggest that Bitcoin would need to rise about 40% from current levels to match the scale of private gold holdings once risk is accounted for. Let's scroll down here past this gigantic ad for stocks. The world's largest cryptocurrency was trading around $119,000 at the time of publication. Resilience. Even though all those articles were saying, oh, the sky is burning for Bitcoin. Bear market. Where? Right. Like I said, watch the catalyst. My humble opinion, watch the catalyst tell you where everything's going to go. And the catalysts have always said, not always, have recently continuously said, Bitcoin is bullish. And we've seen that proven through its resilience. So the debasement trade involves buying assets such as gold or Bitcoin to hedge against the devaluation of fiat currencies. Really interesting. The bank's projection comes as retail investors accelerated their embrace of the debasement trade, pouring into both Bitcoin and gold exchange traded funds over the past quarter. Analysts led by Nicholas Panagurtsoglou. That made me sound terrible, but this is a very long last name. I mean, no disrespect. I just having a struggle to pronounce it. We're just going to say Nicholas P. All right. Nicholas P. noted that flows into these products. I sound like a teacher. These products have surged since late 2024, a trend that picked up ahead of the U.S. presidential election. The analysts framed the trade as a response to long-term inflation concerns, ballooning government deficits. We were just talking about that earlier in the video. Government deficits, global debt. We've seen negative consequences of it before. Let me ask you something. How has commercial real estate been doing? Commercial real estate. Some of the things that the companies are buying, banks are buying from the government that had lost value, that caused them a great deal of concern over the last 3 years. How's that been going? Questions about Federal Reserve independence, waning trust in fiat currencies. Why? Why is there a waning trust in fiat currencies? And a broader move to diversify away from the US dollar. Wait a minute. I was just talking about that. Told you. See, we do a good job over here, in my humble opinion. I thought that slowed down. It doesn't seem like the mainstream media is even talking about that anymore. Like it's not even happening anymore. That's interesting. Even though it is. It continues. The very same way that they continue to speak about SWIFT as though, let's say, as an example, the China system, what is it called? CIPS or something like that, CIPS or something like that, has gained unbelievable ground against SWIFT. You know what's more interesting than that? They don't put the DLTs on that list. Isn't that wild? Folks, let's just take the XRPL, right? You have a lot of great bank coins, the XRP, Hedera, Chainlink, Solana, XLM, Algorand. You have a lot of great ones. They have so much global reach, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why not put them on that list? I guess maybe because of they haven't been fully actuated. Maybe that's the reasoning. I could see that. They haven't been fully actuated just yet. The systems, although the skeleton of it is there, the blood, the liquidity, everything like that is not 100% flowing just yet. We have a few more steps before that occurs. But when that does happen, you're going to, I believe you're going to see something unbelievable when it comes to lists like that of who is moving the bulk of value around the world. So, but you never hear about that. The SIP system having gained so much ground against SWIFT that is this close. Did you see the screenshots in the last video? They're so close to overtaking SWIFT. It's unbelievable. But and I don't like that in certain media. They speak about SWIFT as though it's just this absolutely dominant system. They're not telling you it's made up of individual banks that all have different ideas about where the world is heading and they want to survive. And with SWIFT, you can't do that. It's limited. It's weaponized. Most of the world is not going to use it, which is why they're going to go with their preferred DLTs. Most of these regions with powerful banks, you have the XRPL there, Ripple is there, SBI is there, Hedera is there, Stellar is there, Algorand is there, Chainlink is there. And they have a real neutral system. In that documentation that I read, and then we'll circle back around to Bitcoin, just bear with me one moment. I need to get these thoughts off. In that documentation we were reading through, it just flabbergasted me when they spoke of SWIFT as a neutral system. And I said, what? You can't. There's no, how? Did you catch that when they said that? How can you say, on the one hand, you presented information that showed Swift was weaponized, but then say Swift wants to be a neutral system? One of them, listen, there's an old phrase that's very funny but it conveys the message I want to say here. Here it is. I don't know how and I don't know why, but someone is telling a lie. And that's true here. No, it's not a neutral platform by any means whatsoever. It's 100% controlled by the West, which is why Swift is not going to win. Unless it becomes something else, it's going to be absorbed. It already is being absorbed into the bank coin systems. Unbelievable. But let's continue on with the Bitcoin news here. So the analysts frame the trade as a response to long-term inflation concerns. Yeah, of course. In a broader move to diversify away from the US dollar, cumulative flows into spot Bitcoin and gold ETFs have risen sharply, JP Morgan said, with retail buyers driving much of the activity. Bitcoin exchange traded funds initially outpaced gold earlier in the year, particularly after, quote, Liberation Day, unquote, but gold ETF inflows have been catching up since August, narrowing the gap. Institutional investors have also been participating, according to JP Morgan, though mainly via Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, Bitcoin, and gold futures rather than ETFs. Listen, Bitcoin is bullish. It doesn't have to have a correlation with gold whatsoever. The companies wanting to buy it, nations wanting to buy it, states wanting to buy it is what is making it bullish. As long as that continues, then you know the price has potential to go up. Okay, not financial advice again. I'll say that a billion times. But once that goes away, we'll start asking some questions. Once that starts to wane, you want to start asking some questions, right? That's the time where Bitcoin may hit a plateau or it may drop significantly. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.